Hi again, it's me, Jack Wallen, and I am here for Book Day. That's right, it's officially Book Day. What does that mean? Well, that means I sit here in front of you and talk about one of the books I've written. Give you a little bit of insight into why I wrote it and what it's about. And this time around, I'm going to talk about Violent Delights. Moo ha ha. Let me read you the good old blurb from the back, but first I need to put on my spectacles. Here we go. Love. It transcends time, borders, culture, and generations. When the bonds of love are forged for the right people, a world of wonder is laid out before them. Love makes good people better. But when love binds two of society's worst, the drama that ensues can be tragic. Such is the case with Camilla St. Jude. Camille, not Camilla. Why did I say Camilla? I don't know. Such is the case with Camille St. Jude when, I was doing so well. Such is the case when Camille St. Jude enters the world of psychiatrist Aaron Kennedy. Apart, they've murdered countless victims. They have something in common, an insatiable lust followed by a good slaughter. Once they fall in love, their murderous rampage threatens to bring the city of Boston to its knees. Love makes people careless. Enter Anton Frank and Jean Barber, one of Boston's finest and a transplant inspector from London, charged with bringing this murderous match made in hell to justice. As they work the case, Cupid's arrow sends a clear message to both of them. It's a tale of lust versus love, murder versus morality. I made it through that. We, all the way home. Okay, so why did I write this? Well, first and foremost, I wanted to write a romance series because people love a good romance, right? Of course they do. But then when I started writing it, I realized, well, I can't just write a straight up romance because that's not my jam. What am I going to do? I've already dedicated myself to writing a romance. Oh my gosh. So essentially what happened is within the first few pages, I realized, well, this is going to turn into something a little bit more steamy. And by steamy, I mean erotic. So what I wound up with is an erotic thriller series. The book was inspired by Shakespeare and Romeo and Juliet and the line, "These violent delights bring violent ends." I can't remember the exact quote. I don't know why. I've been in Romeo and Juliet. I played Romeo. Anyway, that's what inspired it. And then also the song by Churches called Violent Delights. So when I set out to write this book, I knew that one of my goals was to create a parallel between two couples. One couple being Anton and Jean, the detectives, and the other being Aaron and Camille, the murderers. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a parallel that showed the difference between love and lust. So we have the detectives who are in love, and then we have the murderers who are in lust. And if you read the whole series carefully, you will see that almost everything parallels. And I intentionally wrote it that way, not to really so much as prove a point, but to just show the difference and show the power of both love and lust and what the power of love and lust can do to people. And this was not a statement to say that I was going to say this is not a statement to say that murderers can't fall in love. I'm sure they can. I'm not going to I'm not going to give murderers that much credit and time because they don't really deserve it. But everybody can fall in love. Everyone. We as humans have the capacity to fall in love. We as humans also have the capacity to lust. And those things are not always mutually exclusive. Sometimes lust turns into love. Sometimes love turns into lust, but that's a different story. And I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not going to try to break that down for you. But this is also the very first series that I wrote from start to finish. I'm actually writing the last book in the series right now. I did not take any left or right turns to write something else while this thing was going on, because I decided that I wanted to be able to keep a continuity with this series without having to go back and reread something like I'm going to have to do pretty soon when I get involved with writing the next Suicide Station book. Because I haven't thought, well, I've thought about them, but I haven't revisited those books in a very long time. Not since I recorded the audio book, I don't think, for the first one. But I found that writing this series from start to finish, back to back, really fulfilling, because I got to live with these characters whom I really enjoy. I like these characters. I really like the relationship between Anton, Jean, and Clara. Clara Beach being the third wheel. And in the second book in the series, both sides of the couple fence have a third wheel. It's just one side uses that third wheel in a different way. I'm not going to give much away there. But it was a real pleasure to be able to create something that I knew was going to mirror each other, and it wasn't it wasn't nearly the challenge that I thought it was going to be, because it was I would write, because essentially what happens is one chapter would be dedicated to Anton and Jean, the next would be dedicated to Aaron and Camille, and back and forth and back and forth. It's not exactly a 1-to-1 ratio, but you get the idea. So as I'm writing each chapter, I can think, okay, well, I had Anton and Jean do this. I need to have Aaron and Camille do this, but in a different vein, obviously in a murderous vein or a lustful vein, what have you. And it was really appealing to me to do it that way. And I knew from the very beginning, I knew how the series was going to end. Of course, in writing the sixth book, I added something in it that would allow the series to continue in a different way. We'll see what happens. We'll also see, it depends on how, so far the feedback has been really great in the series. And so I imagine that I will come back to it. But it's, I started writing romance into my novels some time ago. I will actually talk about that book soon. The book that really kind of launched my love for writing love into books. Okay, so one of probably the biggest challenge to writing this book and this whole series stems from my decision years ago that I would no longer have guns of any kind in my novels. This was a knee-jerk reaction to the Las Vegas shooting, if you remember that, from, was it 2016, 2017, somewhere around there. It was brutal, and I distinctly remember I was watching television on the rowing machine. I was rowing and rowing and rowing. And I don't remember what I was watching, but there were gunshots, and that kind of triggered me. And I immediately I turned off whatever I was watching, and I sat there thinking, in my small little way, I've got to do something. And that something was to say, you know, no more guns. And I didn't lean on guns or weapons of many kinds in any of my books. Yeah, I had some in the iZombie series. I don't even remember what I had in other series. I didn't really use guns a lot, so it wasn't a big deal. But we're talking about detectives and murderers. So I had to get really creative with how things were resolved. And fortunately, in this series, Anton and Jean were chasing a single, well, at first they were chasing a single murderer, and eventually evolved into a throuple that they were chasing. So there wasn't, the need for guns wasn't that great. But to write a erotic crime thriller series without them posed very specific issues. But I think I got away with it, you know, and I know that there will be people that'll read that will say, why would a detective not carry a gun with him? Well, that was my choice. That's because I made them not carry guns. And, you know, and I know that there have been books and television series about detectives who refuse to carry a gun. And so the precedent had been set. So I wasn't reinventing the wheel here with that idea. I think I did reinvent the wheel with the idea of the parallelism of the couples with the lust and the love and all that. And the other thing I'll say about this series is that you know, as soon as Anton and Jean start getting together, you know the end game for this series. And the end game being a wedding. Which thrills my editor to no end, because for whatever reason, I have no idea why, but for some reason, I write really good weddings. Like really, really good. I don't know why I'm so good at, well, it may be because my first wedding I designed the whole thing. I know it's crazy, but I did. My first wedding was a 16th century theme with costumes that were used in the production of Amadeus that I was in. And I made these gigantic drapings that came down from the ceiling and draped down to the floor. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. I probably could have been a wedding designer in another life, but dealing with brides is not my idea of a good time. Remember, I was a hairdresser for a few years, so I had dealt with a couple of brides, and they were, woo, yeah. Anyway, that was a sidetrack. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh my gosh, yeah, weddings. So there will be a wedding at the end of this series, and I'm already kind of churning away at it because I'm getting close. I'm getting so close to writing the end of that last book, and I got to put the wedding in there. And now that I've kind of set the bar, I've set myself up because I said to you, everybody here, that I'm really good at writing weddings. So now I've got to really bring my A game. Anyway, so I did the cover for this book. Actually, I did the cover for all of the Violent Delights series, just because I had an idea for the cover and made it happen, and publisher loved it. So I said, well, I'll do them all. It saved them some money, and I didn't mind doing it because I used to have a cover design business. I don't anymore. I still do some for friends, but it's too much work for, anyway. So if you like a good steamy thriller, this is probably right up your alley. But you got to like some steam, because this gets really, really, really steamy. I was shocked. There were times I was like, am I really writing this? Am I really having these characters do and say this? Okay, we'll do it. Let's go with it. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Let's go. And they went. And they did it. The characters did it all over the place in different ways. Craziness, madness, cats and dogs living together. So if that's your jam, this book will be your jam. Now, I will say this, as far as the eroticism goes. As the series goes on, the eroticism gets less and less and less. That was purposeful. Before anybody actually starts reading all these and say, what's going on? Why is there less sexy time? There's a reason for it. You'll find out why in the 6th novel. Which means you got to read all 6 of them. And you should, especially if steam is your jam. Okay, I have blathered on and on long enough about violent delights. As I said, if you like a good steamy romance with a side of crime thriller, or maybe it might be a crime thriller with a side of steamy romance. Maybe it's equal parts. I don't know what the ratio is. But if that sounds appealing to you, you will not be disappointed in this book. Anyway, thank you so very much for spending a little bit of time hearing me blather on about one of the books I wrote. I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of all of my books. Yes, all of them. I'm proud of all of them. They all my... Did I really say that? Oh my gosh. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Really. Now I'm thinking, should I re-record this because I let that slip out? That was bad. That was terrible. Anyway, please forgive me for that. I don't know why I said that. That's not me. But these books are my children, and I'm very proud of them. And please forgive me for what I just said. Anyway, thank you again. Goodness. Am I blushing? Because I'm ashamed of myself. Oi to the bay. Anyway, thank you again. I'm sweating. I'm really sweating. Oh my God. Wow. It's live theater. Not really, but, you know. Anyway. Oh, I do have... No, never mind. Not going to go there. We're done. We're done. We're done. Anyway, thank you very much. And I hope that you and everyone you know and love have a wonderful, wonderful day.